What if you could join a network of business leaders who share your Christian values, who reject the separation of faith and business, and who have a fierce vision for success? Welcome to Business Makers Network, a network that strives to create community, build intellectual wealth and practical business knowledge, and grow thriving businesses for the kingdom. We're not just another business network. We are a community of unapologetic Christian leaders who understand that success in business blesses our customers, blesses our families and employees, and in the end drives greater profits. All of Christ for all our business efforts as we aim to take the talents God has given us and turn them into 30, 60, and 100-fold. With a combined net worth already exceeding $1 billion in committed memberships, our members are reshaping the business landscape while staying true to our Christian values and taking dominion in the lanes God has paid for us. As a member, you'll gain exclusive access to our Business Makers Network app, discounts to live workshop events, network calls with key influencers, access to like-minded Christian business leaders, a pool of hands-on intellectual wealth and practical business knowledge, mentorship and menteeship programs. We will be rolling those out over the coming year. Read-only access for the tier above you for educational purposes. Invitations to our annual corporate partner dinner. Networking events at the Fight Laugh Feast conference. We offer membership tiers designed to match your business journey. From our exclusive Double Diamond level for industry titans, to our green membership for promising startups, to our MVP tier that is looking for a community of Christian, like-minded business leaders. There's a place for every serious business leader in our community. Your network is your net worth. Join Business Makers today and become a part of a movement that is changing the face of Christian business leadership. Visit our website now to secure your membership and step into a community where faith, business, and success align.
Welcome to Cross Politic. This is one of those episodes you might want lots and lots and lots of soap and some brain-burning floss after we get done with it. It could be messy. Pastor Toby, Chocolate Knox, Marcus Pitman is with us, and we have Gabe Wrench. I think he's in Nashville, right? He's out there. Yeah, there he is.
Yeah. I'm in Texas.
Oh, you're in Texas. Okay, he's at Texas at the NRB conference out there. We're going to get to him in just a minute. We have a lovely show planned for you. I think we have a little bit of an entree and a full course meal with a nice little appetizer
that they pulled out of the garbage can.
We'll get to that.
Do you find yourself turning on the news and feeling hopeless? Woke agendas, open borders, inflation, the list goes on. There is something you can do. Buy from companies that believe what you and I believe. We need to stick together now more than ever. And there has been one company willing to stand with you since 2012. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. They offer the very best nationwide 4G and 5G coverage on all networks. In fact, they use the same towers as the major carriers. A Patriot Mobile has service plans to fit any budget, and their 100% U.S.-based customer support team provides exceptional customer support. More importantly, Patriot Mobile shares your values and supports organizations fighting for religious freedom, your constitutional rights, the sanctity of life, and our veteran and first responder heroes. So switch to Patriot Mobile today and get free activation with the offer code CROSSPOLITIC. So use CROSSPOLITIC as the offer code and get free activation. Go to patriotmobile.com/CROSSPOLITIC and use promo code CROSSPOLITIC. As Knox mentioned a moment ago, we're grateful to have Marcus Pitman here in the studio.
Great to be back, Toby.
Yeah, you're with Lore TV, CEO of Lore TV, a streaming platform focused on Christian and conservative content, which would filter out NSA sex chats, right?
You're spoiling the entree.
I'm just
definitely not. No, we're just a platform for independent filmmakers to get funding and release their films. Yep.
Right,
Can somebody do a trans film on?
As long as a trans person is the bad guy.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, why not?
Or repents or something like that.
Yeah. Or but like our main focus is really just to create this, like, I think all the streaming companies right now are trying to build the NFL, and the conservative filmmakers are trying to be NFL, and we're just like, well, let's be high school football.
Okay.
Let's be a place for the homeschoolers to get their start making films, independent filmmakers that haven't built a name, because we don't have a we don't have a way to platform unknown artists. We bring in John Voight, Sylvester Stallone, who are in their 80s.
Yeah, but still making good entertainment.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so don't forget, Marcus Pitman also created some pretty significant documentaries like Babies Are Still Murdered Here.
Yeah. Babies Are Murdered Here.
And the first one, Babies Are Murdered Here.
He did that film in my basement.
I did.
Yeah,
I sure did. Yeah.
And it says
took a bus from Georgia to Florida to meet John Barrows. Took a Greyhound.
Right. It says here he is based in Moscow, Idaho, and is recognized as a disruptor in the media industry.
I am based and in Moscow, Idaho.
Yes, you are.
Look at that.
Absolutely. Okay, so are you really going to make us? You're going to make me?
Well,
read this,
so here's the
menu.
Deal.
Menu.
Yes. So here's your appetizer.
Oh, no.
Elon Musk is, what do you call it? He's
mustard.
He's just being meanie.
Mustard.
That's your favorite guy, right? He's just being a big
moo.
And so everybody right now, if you haven't heard, President Trump has been, cleaning out the swamp, doing a lot of things, and he's been using Elon Musk with Doge to do so. Well, recently they came up with the email to federal employees. And the federal employees aren't taking, we're going to get to what the email said in just a second. But first, I want to get to how the federal employees have been taking this email, having received it just past Saturday.
Okay. How are they taking it?
First, just tell us about this email and what it was like receiving it and what you all have talked about after getting it.
Sure. I got this email Saturday afternoon, about 3 p.m., and I felt absolutely infuriated getting this email with a demand within 48 hours to provide a response on what I did within the last week or face termination. This is clearly an attempt from Elon Musk to harass and bully and intimidate the federal workforce, which is part of his broader plan to gut the federal workforce and privatize public sector services to ensure that corporations like his own can get more profit. And that makes me really angry, and my coworkers as well.
Oh, no. Now, in case you didn't know this, if you happen to be an employer, it is harassment, bullying, and what was the last one she said? Anyway, it's been just a big mustard to ask your employees to tell you what they did this past week. Just 5 things they did this past week. Not today.
No.
Not today.
It says approximately.
Yeah.
It doesn't even say it has to be 5. I mean, like 4.
Yeah.
But now to be approximately 5.
You're not supposed to read the email yet. So that's just, this has just been like everybody is flipping out over this. Play the other clip about how people are taking this.
The president has put Elon Musk into a position of authority to do damage to our government.
This is not about efficiency. This is about loyalty.
Or both.
This is about having Trump and Musk put in the people that are going to be beholden to them so that they can push forward on their corrupt agenda.
Elon Musk has been lying through his teeth to the American people time and time again.
It's completely inhumane what he's doing, by the way.
Inhumane.
No compassion, no thought about these people that are working hard to deliver services. And quite frankly, it's crazy that this is his approach.
If you're an employee, it's inhumane for your employer to ask you what you did.
They're working so hard.
Yeah,
they're working so hard.
So hard that it's and federal employees at that. They're doing so much to change the world
for the public. For the public good.
Here's the genius behind Elon Musk's email. How many federal employees are getting paid who actually don't work for the government anymore? How many federal employees are getting a paycheck, or they aren't even employees anymore? They quit or whatever and are still getting a paycheck. How many employees or non-employees are still getting revenue and don't have access to their email anymore? In other words, how many people who are getting a paycheck from the government and don't have email or aren't answering their emails because they don't work for the government anymore, those are who are not going to respond. Those are the people.
It's like Milton from Office Space.
Gabe, that is inhumane.
And Gabe, can you hear all those people right now?
That's inhumane.
Those aren't the ones complaining.
Because they have no email. They aren't going to respond because they don't work for the government.
You are bullying.
And just so everybody's been talking about this and said, you know what, why would you send an email on Saturday? Nobody even got this email Saturday. She did. She got it Saturday, and she knew
That's
she only had 48 hours to come up with some words of things.
On Friday.
Well, I'm telling you what the federal employee said. She said she got it on Saturday when she was received.
Well, because
that's a problem too.
What?
She's reading emails.
Did she check her email on Friday? Oh no, she was working so hard.
She was so busy.
She was working so hard
doing federal government work.
And when she finally got out of all that work she had to
At
do
3 o'clock in the morning,
it was Saturday, and then she checked her
she
email.
checked her email,
and then was able to book an interview.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
that's right.
But that's hard work too.
That is hard work. But let's just remind everybody of what the email actually said and what was being asked, by the way, from the president by way of Elon Musk.
Right.
By the way of us.
Please reply.
By the way of us.
By the way of us.
Hold on.
I voted for this.
Yeah, hold on. Hit the play.
All right, let's take a closer look. This is the email sent by senior advisor to the president, Elon Musk, asking federal workers for 5 bullet points of things that they actually accomplished last week. This is not hard. So one of our team counted every single word and letter. It's 35 words. And not one of those words has more than 3 syllables. Yet somehow it has created a tsunami of confusion and controversy.
Yeah.
Information has more than
information.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, when they're
it's Fox.
yeah,
Fox.
they don't work for the federal government. They can't be as active. They're not as busy as all those people. And
But,
so
I don't know if you saw, like Elon actually posted a screenshot asking Grok to answer this question, and Grok replied, and Elon said, "It's that simple."
Right.
what were you gonna say, Gabe?
I was going to say again, he's doing the Social Security trick. All he's doing is pulling all the data and emailing all the data and finding out all the people who are on payroll who are 350 years old.
Right.
200 years old, 200 plus. Those people are dead. They're never going to respond. So that's the easy place to start in kicking people off payroll.
Well, I mean, I'm not mad at that, but there's something else going on here too. I think that President Trump and his whole crew know there's been a lot of inefficiency going on inside the government. And Christopher Rufo, who we all know, he's him and what's her name? Hannah Grossman. I was on X last night and found this article. It's called NSA Secret Sex Chats. I don't normally do this because we're a family show. We love the kids. We like to baptize them.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try my best to read this without slipping up.
Yeah, I mean.
But you should maybe take your kids in case knocks slip up.
If you're in the kitchen, and
this
living
is just
room,
playing. You might want to put your Bluetooth in.
And you're used to, this being a family
Tell
show.
the kids, we're going to be Baptist for a moment. Y'all ain't welcome to listen to this one. And I'm going to try and read to you kind of what they found. So basically, 2 sources within the National Security Agency came to Christopher Rufo and Hannah Grossman and brought this information to them. They provided chat logs from NSA's interlinked messaging program.
Yeah. NSA, let's just pause real quick. We're not talking about New St. Andrews College.
No, you're talking about employees that work for you.
Oftentimes when we use NSA here on the show, we're talking about New St. Andrews.
Yeah,
but,
right.
But this is not talking about New St. Andrews College. This is talking about the National Security Agency.
Right. They don't.
The National Security the agency that provides national security for our country,
that keep you safe, protect you,
and other intelligence organizations.
We assume. Anyways, just to remind you, that's what we're talking about here. The National Security Agency. Okay, continue.
One popular chat topic that was inside of this particular, what do they call it, interlinked messaging program.
Yeah.
Was male to female transgender surgeries, which involve surgically removing. You know what that involves. And this is
the male part.
Yep. Mine, someone says,
turn it into a not real female part.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
That's what I said. I'm trying to help you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mine is everything, said one male. Oh boy.
Who claimed to have had that
reconstruction surgery.
Yeah. That's. I mean, they're deformation.
I've found that I like being. Nope. Not gonna say that.
This is on the clock.
But this is on the clock.
This is on the clock.
I find that
they're keeping our country safe.
You can't access classified chat rooms with your home computer.
Right.
So it has to be from.
Yeah, this is classified.
So this is at office.
Yeah. We're keeping the country safe, and we're talking about being penetrated.
That's what I was trying. But all the rest is just as important as well. Another intelligent official boasted that genital surgery allowed him to wear leggings or bikinis without having to wear a gaff under it. Don't Google that.
I don't know what that is.
But if, you don't want to know.
But seriously, they're still talking about genital surgeries.
I just want to keep going. I want to make it through this because here's the deal. Everybody is flipping out right now. Oh my goodness.
Right. We're being oppressed.
We're being oppressed.
It's inhumane.
Do you know how hard we're working?
Right. But they have time to chat about their
hair being removed, estrogen injections, and the experience of sexual pleasure post-castration. Getting my oh my gracious by a laser was shocking. I hope you have an imagination and not too big of one. They also spent $1,000 on hair removal. Look, I just enjoy helping people experience. Nope, not gonna say that.
After estrogen
you would be fired. You would be fired at Starbucks, as liberal as they are, for not working and just talking about this stuff on the show.
Yeah. If you're using like the little headsets to talk about your sex,
that's right.
Transition surgeries.
One of the weirdest things that gives me euphoria is when I pee, I don't have to push. A defense intelligence agency employee added.
Again, pause.
Please pause. Pause all over the place.
So this stop. This is not just like some random public federal company employee.
Right.
You know, like, I don't know, like the federal, what's one? Like, I don't know, like the Arts Administration, which I don't believe in. But
DMV.
Yeah. Right. There's it would still be bad.
Yeah.
It would still be perverse.
Yes.
Right.
But this is a defense intelligence agency.
Yeah.
And they are not defending us, and they are not intelligent.
This is definitely not intelligent.
This is the same organization Edward Snowden came out of. So you have like really
for real.
When you think of like NSA, CIA, or like if you think of like a movie about the NSA or the CIA, you think these guys are elite, intelligent, the best of the best.
And they're talking about their
mustard.
This is awful.
Well,
this is like, again, these
who's on the wall?
They're supposed they're supposed to be keeping us safe.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be protecting our country, and what they're chatting about is how they're castrating themselves, how they're getting kinky pleasure from having their body parts completely destroyed.
Isn't there an army in the Old Testament that castrated themselves, or there was another country that castrated themselves? That was part of the judgment, right? It was Baal, wasn't it?
What's that? Which one?
Well, the prophets of Baal after they killed themselves.
Man, I missed that part.
You find that Bible.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Go ask Grok.
The
answer to that one.
But I'm saying like that's a judgment. Yeah. Ultimately, like that's a judge. When your military is castrating themselves,
the people who are supposed to defend you.
Yeah.
Right.
And we're by the way,
they're glorying in this shame.
And we're paying them to do so.
Right.
This is what inefficient work looks like. But this is judgment.
Right. And CNN and a bunch of liberals are shrieking about this being so oppressive.
Let me read this last part, and then we'll go over
one last part,
because this is the kicker. According to the sources, the sex chats were legitimized as part of the NSA's commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Activists within the agency use LGBTQ+ employee resource groups to turn their kinks and pathologies into official work duties.
It's official work duties to talk about their sexual perversions on the chat groups.
According to the people who gave this information to us, these groups spent all day recruiting activists and holding meetings with titles such as privilege, ally awareness, pride, and transgender community inclusion. And they did so with the full support of the NSA leadership, which declared that DEI was not only mission critical, but mission imperative.
What in the world? NSA leadership? NSA leadership. So again, not just agents.
No.
Right.
But leaders of the National Security Agency insisting that these sex chats are not only mission critical, but mission imperative.
And they're calling Elon
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I don't let the man work. This is what I thought about. I was like, oh, okay, so we're finding out that the cancer is much deeper to the bone than we thought.
Yeah.
And it probably goes a lot deeper than this.
Oh, yeah.
So then when you have something like a what do they call it when you...
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, no, please don't.
Oh, my goodness.
I threw mine away. I should have thrown yours away.
This former NSA source who was familiar with the chats recalled being disgusted by a particularly shocking thread discussing weekend gangbangs.
Yeah, I skipped that part past it.
Why?
I had enough. I can only handle so much.
But here's the thing: we've been throwing flags and flares up about what's going on in the UK.
Yes, and here we are
with these rape gangs.
Here we are,
and we have this being revealed as people bragging about, or at least celebrating, or something, talking about gangbanging in the name of, again, that this is not only mission critical but mission imperative. I mean, it's already here. I mean, this is in America, and this is in our national security agency. This is
and so
insane.
People are flipping out because they are seeing chemotherapy run through the system, and they're like, "Yo, what are you doing? We're not sick." Yes, we are.
Yeah.
And you and I know that. Look, these are not our guys in a lot of ways, but this is definitely chemo.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you let the chemo work itself all the way through the system so that this is the kind of thing it gets out. And you got to remember, Elon is working off of efficiency. This is what he's trying to do. The lady was right. He is trying to privatize some things because we need them to be privatized. He is trying to make sure that people who own companies, which you have the ability to be able to own, by the way, can make more money serving them, the citizens, and lowering the tax cost for individuals.
Private companies make wealth for the American people.
Don't ever forget that.
And the government, the federal government, does not.
Right.
It does not create wealth. It never does, and that's one of the key things that we need to understand. But I mean, it's perverse. It's disgusting. It's an absolute waste,
and we need to repent.
And
well, I was gonna say that, like, you know, for all the things that, you know, Trump is doing that we disagree with, like the IVF and all this other sort of stuff.
Absolutely.
We are blessed for this to be exposed. And like, you know, my concern is, like, God's given us as a nation time to repent. And to, like, really, like, this is really our time for Christian businesses, Christian ministries and stuff to really prosper during these next 4 years. And because God has given us a real blessing that we need to take advantage of as the church.
Right.
Gabe,
opportunity.
You are out there in Texas. Your conversation is going to be the thing that redeems this whole conversation. So please tell me there's hope out there in Christendom for media, and that you've been doing some reconnaissance on. Did I say that right? I think I did.
Yeah, you did reconnaissance.
Yeah, wow. I had a Gabeism that didn't go. How are things out there? Some hopeful things you're seeing at the conference. Media is out there. Christian's going to be all right. We're going to make it. We're going to be able to defend and defeat this stuff right here we're dealing with.
Yeah, maybe a little context of what's going on. I'm out here for NRB convention, National Religious Broadcast Convention. It's the largest religious lobbying organization in the U.S. And there's about 2,000 to 2,500 booths at this convention. There's about 5,000 people here. It's a very large conference. I mean, the convention area is significant and massive. But it's also full of, I mean, national religious broadcast. It's not national Christian broadcast, religious. So it represents all religions here. Now, it's mostly dominated by Christians. In fact, you kind of have to look hard a little bit to find the Jewish media or the Muslim media or other media. But it's amazing that the breadth of religious representation here is amazing, even within the Christian church. I walked by a booth today where it was Bible oil healing booth.
Oh,
yeah.
And it said the tagline was "Rub it where it hurts."
Send some of that to NSA. Sorry. Leave that one alone. Leave that one alone.
NSA wants to rub it where it feels good. And then I walked by another booth where they had it mapped out, the timeline. I mean, it was a wall of timeline that Jesus is returning in 2033.
Oh.
And so you have this broad representation of even Christian media booths here. But you know, part of it is like, I think this is the conversation about this. I think Christians need to grow in wisdom and maturity of what it looks like. If we're going to be a Christian nation again, there's probably going to be co-belligerents that are going to help us in this process. I mean, Richard Dawkins is on our team. Right? You know, Elon Musk is probably going to help us become more of a Christian nation again, if God blesses us with that. And so I think part of the thing I'm thinking through here is like, there's a lot of different religious and particularly Christian organizations represented here. And how do you think through the co-belligerent process on this? Even though I would probably like a lot of these organizations put in church discipline. While at the time fighting for a Christian nation to return again. I don't quite have all the answers of what I'm thinking through here, but if we're going to make America Christian again, we as Christians have to sort through what does co-belligerence look like without compromising your orthodoxy.
Right.
Well, and I think a large part of it I've been thinking about is, do we have our orthodoxy right? Do we have our doctrine right? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's one of the first things. And it's interesting right now, I've been noticing. So when I became Reformed, one of the things that everybody was focused on was doctrine. And it was very hard to get anyone at that time to think about politics or the application of doctrine in the world. It was very much Gnostic.
Yeah.
And now I'm watching the complete flip where everybody's extremely political, but doesn't have enough doctrine to support what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, whoa, okay, I'm almost going back the other way.
A lot of that is because the Christian church was Gnostic in those areas. And David, like me and you, we've known each other with maybe 15 years now.
Yeah.
We've gone through this whole process together of theology, evangelism.
Yep.
That was the main thing. Reformed theology, that led to Reformed theology. And then that led to, abortion clinic ministry. And then now you're in politics. And so I think like the Reformed church has transitioned into this where we are now, where it's like, okay, now we need more, I would say we actually need more cultural influence. We don't have it. So that's why the politicians are taking over without the religion, because the Christians haven't been building businesses. They haven't been producing media companies. There's not a single Christian media institution besides maybe Focus on the Family and Adventures in Odyssey that's been around 50 years.
Yeah.
There's none of it, so we don't have any platforms that are large enough that we can inject the Christianity into.
But I think the point that to Knox's point though is it's that we don't have those. You're absolutely right. But we also if we don't have them with an orthodox backbone.
That's right.
We don't have them with a solid theological backbone. Right. And to the extent that Christians have actually tried to build things in the past, they all get sucked in to the mainstream. They get sucked into the paganism of our day, and so either they remain sectarian in some respects, and so they're not broadly influential, or they get sucked into the mainstream and lose their souls.
That's right.
And so that's the trick, is like as the Reformed Church has become more and more culturally and politically active, you're right, we're still lacking institutions, but I think the fear is that we don't have the theology, we don't have the backbone to actually hold our own.
Right.
And I'm going to pick a little bit of a fight with you, Marcus. Okay. I think
it won't be the first time.
No, it wouldn't be the first time that we do this. And Gabe, you jump in here too, because you're there at NRB around all these. You have people. NRB is an institution. It's platforming. You're around people who are doing movies and who are in the media. But I just don't believe anymore that we need the institutions as we once needed in the past. I mean, and this is something that Gary Vee talks about. It's called the TikTokification of the world. You can have 10 million followers or 100 million followers, and somebody right now with 7 followers can get more views than you, get more engagement than you, and produce more income than you. Mm. And so it doesn't matter how big your platform is as far as institutions based, because of the new technology and what people hate about the algorithm. By the way, it's not the algorithm. It's not some spirit that's going around doing things. No, it's actually what people's interests are. It's gauging human beings. And so it's saying people like to engage with content this way, and people who make content this way are going to get that kind of audience. And so what we're not doing is we've lost a good understanding of humanity, of this is what I've been working on. Anthropology. We don't have a good, back to theology again, right? We don't know how men are really made and what they're for, and how God and what their interests are. And so we don't make things for them that they want to consume. That's creative or doctrinally solid. And we have music right now is insane.
Yes.
How an artist can sit up here and do a song and somewhere in backwoods, Virginia, and become the #1 hit song, goes platinum 7 times, and everybody's talking about institutions.
But
what I'm saying.
I think you need institutions.
Let me jump in on this.
I agree. I think it'll come back to institutions.
No, what I meant by that is conservatives have been focused with this mentality of we have to preserve institutions. We have to take back Hollywood. No, we don't have to take back Hollywood. We have to build our own thing. And we have the things to do that. But you didn't see Christians jumping in trying to buy Twitter before Elon did. Right, you right?
Yeah, they would look at the numbers and say, it's not worth it.
He's like, well, we need to preserve institutions.
Right.
Well, why didn't we go after Twitter?
No.
Why didn't we do that? And so all these things like
Wasn't a
TikTok,
traditional institution
TikTok,
either, though.
Facebook, Snapchat, all these major social media platforms, they're not run by Christians, because Christians, instead of focusing on building that thing that can decentralize and empower people, like if you think of like Reformation, like the printing press, like what's the thing that we could do and build to make a printing press? We don't do that. We go and say, hey, let's make a Christian version of TikTok, right? Or we'll make this like weird side app. And I think a lot of those weird side apps are at the NRB, like those sort of things. And so what we need to do is focus on building broad, mainstream, decentralizing brands and platforms to people. And that's something, the printing press wasn't just for Bibles. It blessed everybody. There wasn't like a Christian printing press.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, it was for all kinds of printing.
It was for all kinds of printing, right?
Gabe's looking like he has to go. So Gabe, I will get to you, but then we'll let you go.
Yeah. I'm following Bradley Pearson to the restaurant, but one of the things that makes me think of all this is our problem is that I think Christians are actually compromised significantly. I think how many NSA chats are happening within the church? Right? There's a reason why we have. I'm at NRB, 5,000 people here. There's many streaming organizations here right now, more than ever. There's so much money being spent on outreach in Christian media, and how little impact are we having? Because the NSA chats are probably more significant than we realize in the church.
Yeah. That's a really good point, man. I think
you always got to take it back to us. It's our fault about everything, Gabe.
Oh, for real.
Go have your dinner, man. We appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, keep up the good work. We'll see you.
Get back here soon. Pastor, I interrupted you, and you were going to say something about institutions.
Well, I was going to say. So, you're right about the opportunity social media and the new tech provides for sort of the explosion or the flare, where you can send up. You can have a sudden explosion. The one-hit wonder. A clip goes viral. So that's there, and that is a new phenomenon and matters. But I think the institution, though, is still needed to preserve momentum.
It's inescapable.
Right.
Institutions are inescapable.
But to your point, Marcus, in terms of the conservative knee-jerk reaction is to only preserve old institutions.
That's right.
Rather than to build new ones.
That's right.
I really like Nate Wilson gave a talk a couple years ago at one of the I think it was a pre-conference talk for Grace Agenda on this topic. I highly recommend it. And he said we ought to think more of our institutions more like pirate ships.
Yes.
He said, and so if you conservatives like to build ships and then just sort of leave them in the harbor,
right,
and look at them and polish them.
How many guns it has? 4,000 guns. They ever shot? No,
they don't use them.
Right.
And he said, what we ought to do is we want to build the ship, get on the ship, go do raids.
Pew pew.
We want to be Sir Francis Drake.
Right.
Out there on the high seas, raiding the Spaniards, raiding those papists,
yeah,
and all the atheists and all all of them. We ought to be thinking of our institution like that. And then when you're doing it right, you may frequently be able to do multiple missions on the same institution. But oftentimes, you get shot up.
Yeah.
And you let that ship go and you jump ship and you build a new one.
Yep.
You build a new one. And
That's
so
right.
I think we need to be thinking that way a little more nimbly about our
Yes.
institutions. So we build institutions, blood, sweat, and tears. But God has not promised that our institutions will withstand the gates of hell.
That's right.
He's promised that to the church,
Right.
The Church Catholic, the universal Christian church. That's not going to be prevailed against by the gates of Hades. But in the meantime, you're going to build schools. They'll serve the function for a while. You're going to build a business that'll serve the function for a while. You even plant a particular church, and that will serve a function for a while. That institution, but then eventually the pirate ship goes down,
That's right.
and everybody knows build a new one.
That's why building and investing takes risk.
That's right.
And you can't be a coward and an investor at the same time, right?
That's right.
So like those are the things. I'm in that world every day,
Yes.
having meetings with investors and stuff.
Right.
And so much money is just going to Africa under the sort of mentality of missions, business sort of stuff. But really, it's welfare for Africa. And Linux is really great on talking about this. I had lunch
Califungwa.
I had lunch with him just last week, and we were just having a conversation about this. But like, it's destroying Africa's USAID and all the Christian organizations, all the Christian faith-based organizations that are partnering with USAID, and we're all focused on this sort of thing. The CIA's taking Christian money and just building this whatever.
Hate to see their
So we're
chats.
completely distracted. We're completely distracted with sort of this emotionalism in our investing, that where it needs to be. Look, we need to build things. We need to take risks. We need to lose money. We need to make money, and this is what needs to happen. And I think dispensationalism isn't just awfully infected the faith-based investing.
Don't start a whole nother
But that's
meal.
a whole nother
That's
topic.
it.
But it is partly to blame because you
Of
don't
course.
you don't build
That's theology,
a
though.
Disney
Yeah.
or a Marvel that has been around for 100 years.
Yeah.
If you think you're going to be raptured next week, it's just not going to happen. And then when we find ourselves in this situation, where it's like, oh man, like finally the people in government are on our side in a great way, but they're still not orthodox. It's like, well, how do we reach them? Well, we haven't built anything like that. We haven't built a megaphone that's loud enough yet.
Well, and this is where. So first of all, institutions are essential, and God gave institutions to help shape man, and their primary institutions are those that are offshoots of the primary. So you have civil magistrate, you have the family, and then you have the church, right? And then inside of one of the other ones before those was like not before, but the individual. Right. And so there's offshoots of that. Business is based from individual and family. It comes from that structure. And you got ministries that come out of the church that connect to the two. Yeah. So you have traditional. My point, though, is to say that the level to entry for an institution is lower now than it has ever been before. Sure. So that you can create an institution to swallow up another one like Elon Musk did and has done. Right. And my point is like, you don't have to worry about whether or not you can infiltrate that institution when you can have the barrier to entry so low to engage it for the point of helping shape human beings.
And that's what I was going to piggyback on it, to what Marcus just said is I'm not even sure that I don't think we need a bigger megaphone.
Right.
I think we have the megaphone. I think the issue primarily is that we haven't actually produced much.
You're right.
We're inefficient.
That's right. That anybody wants or needs.
That's right.
So I think the barrier's very low.
Yes.
And there's a massive megaphone. And it's like, take dominion of something.
That's right.
Build something, create something, make something that would bless your neighbors, that would bless the world, that would make this world a better place. That's what we are actually needing to do. And I think the person that sees that, build something, create something that the world needs, I think the megaphone's already there, and it's a matter of time. Now, I mean, it's often a slog. I know that Laura's been you've been beating pounding the pavement for years with this idea. But I think generally speaking, what we're lacking is executing good ideas.
That's right.
And taking the risk of maybe thinking about the world in a different way, thinking about what might be useful in our world in a different way. But that's just taking dominion, taking risk, and then And then I think you put it on TikTok, you put it on X, you put it on social media, and I think there's already the megaphone is there.
Yeah.
And one of the things too is as we have access, since we have families, that's one of the institutions we get to control. We have direct control over that institution. And just think about raising kids, raising a family that actually replaces some of those people we were just reading about inside of the intelligence agency. It's like we're raising people.
Let's not call them the intelligence agency anymore.
Unfortunately.
I think they just lost that title.
The unintelligent agency.
The National Unintelligent Agency. That's,
But take authority there, though.
Right. And Gabe's right, though. We are laced with sin in our ranks. I mean, there's a reason why we're not creative.
Yep.
That's right.
Right.
It's because we're gummed up with sin and guilt and shame.
Yep.
Takes repentance first before you can even get out of that. And faith in God. If you're single, get married. If you're married, have some kids. And if you have kids, go baptize them. Until tomorrow, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Go fight, laugh, and feast. This is Cross Politics.
A master called together a few young men of this generation and spoke to them, saying, I gave your great-grandfathers a time of despair and poverty and global war. They were strong and victorious and built an empire greater than any other. But they were terrible fathers and raised entitled sons and daughters of rot who inherited everything through no courage of their own. To those rotten sons, your own grandfathers, I gave abundance and wealth and stability. But they pissed it all away on debauchery and sexual revolution, establishing many idols and slaughtering tens of millions of children in sacrifice to their appetites. One generation fought against the perpetrators of a great Holocaust. The next dishonored that victory with an even greater Holocaust of their own children. The children who did survive, your fathers, carried on the sexual descent of their parents into new madness and new disease, piercing and inking their skin like death-worshipping pagans as they did, establishing special days of pride to celebrate the debauch, slaughtering more children and castrating and poisoning others, claiming to be creators when they were destroyers, mutilating the young and calling it acceptance. All these generations I have judged, and am judging. Their madness now is only a taste of my wrath. The young men were afraid and asked the master why he had called them and why he was telling them these things. Because it is now your turn. I am giving all of this chaos to you, he said. Your inheritance is a world of crumbling false gods crowded with blind and mad worshippers. I am entrusting you with a world of empires built on cracked and heaving foundations. The time of your inheritance is near. You have only a little while to prepare yourselves. Seize this moment of chaos and build me a world of sanity and righteousness. When I return, I will judge what you have built for me. With so much rubble to work with, I expect great things. The master turned to leave, but the young men begged him to wait. How can we do this, they asked. There are hundreds of millions of unbelievers in our nation alone and only a few of us. Their master answered, saying, I am not a hard master. You will have the truth and wisdom if you desire it. And you may each choose one woman to help you. That should be enough. Go now and build New St. Andrews College. Carpe Chaos.